I recently did an AI audit and a custom AI build for a company that's doing several $1 million a month. And I learned 7 things that was very eye opening for me. And I think that if you are an owner of a business, if you are looking to audit businesses to see where AI can solve bottlenecks, if you're an employee in a business and you're trying to provide more value and you want to help the company become more productive with less employees, whatever the case might be, this is going to be relevant for you. And the core theme of this video is that there is a very human aspect to artificial intelligence. And it's kind of counterintuitive because when we talk about AI and we think about AI, we're thinking about, machine learning, neural networks, aka not human-based technology. But what I've actually found is that the most successful builds, at least as it stands right now in the middle of 2025, and in my opinion, it'll be this way until maybe 2027, we'll see. But humans and AI kind of go hand in hand. And I think after this video, you'll get a better understanding of why exactly that is. And so over the course of several weeks, we interviewed many people inside the business, over 300 people to be exact. And what I learned was really eye-opening. So let's go ahead and get into it. So when you're performing an audit or you're thinking about adding AI to your business or to your company's business, I like to go with the U-shaped approach. And so the U-shaped approach is essentially starting with the top to understand what are the strategic goals of the business. Is it to increase profits? Is it to, minimize the need of employees? Is it to expand into a new demographic? I mean, there's a million different things that this could actually be, but you have to start with understanding what the strategic goals are. Otherwise, you can't bridge that gap with AI. So, if you don't know that the firm is not interested in increasing revenue, they're interested in increasing profits, then the solution you bring to the table is just not going to be relevant or valid. And so after you get very clear on what the strategic goals are, kind of the end vision, then what you can do is you can go into the trenches and you can interview the people, really doing the dirty work, if you will, and just see, hey, what sucks about your day to day? What's taking too much time? What takes too much energy? What gives you anxiety? What do you feel like could be much more efficient of a process? And so on and so forth. And what this is going to do is it's going to identify different areas that can have AI come in and essentially clean it up. And then from there, what you want to do is you're going to go to the top of the U and you're going to validate your findings with leadership. Because something we'll talk about later is that you might think you know a solution, but if it is not in line with what a leader or an executive in the business wants, it doesn't really matter. So the first step when thinking about adding AI to a business is basically an investigation. You want to do a deep dive investigation, and that starts with the strategic vision of the business. I also want to touch on when you're interviewing employees in a business and you're talking about AI, that it's immediately going to set off a bunch of red flags from the employees. And the reason for that is, it's no secret that AI is replacing jobs left and right. And so if employees hear you come in and you say, hey, the higher ups want us to improve efficiency in the business. Well, number one, they're not going to cooperate because that's a red flag all the way around that they're about to get replaced because the employees want the business to be more efficient. But if you come in and position it as saying, and this is true, hey, I'm here to help make your job suck less. I want to figure out what you hate about your job, what you feel like could be better. And together, we're going to figure out how we can improve it with technology so that you can enjoy your day-to-day a lot more. So essentially positioning yourself as an ally with the people inside of the business as opposed to, hey, I'm coming in and we're cleaning house. So, you better cooperate with me or you're done. It's more of a, hey, let's work together and figure out how we can make your job and AKA your life a lot better. This goes a long way, and you need that buy-in from the employees if you want to get the real insights that you need to be able to come up with the solutions and ultimately build the solutions that can increase and improve the business. Okay, another thing that's super, super important. If someone has the word strategy in their role in the business, you need to be sure that you're talking to them, because one thing that we did is we interviewed a lot of people, most of the executives, not all of them. And after about 2 months with this audit, we're meeting with them and we're talking about the solutions that we have found, or basically the issues we have found and the solutions that we think can fix those problems. But the problem is there was one person that we didn't interview, and they had the name strategy in their role. And so they were not happy because their vision was not in alignment with what they thought was needed for the business. And so this caused us to scramble a little bit. It was pretty stressful, to be honest with you. But ultimately, what we learned from that is we just need to make sure that A, we meet with all the executives. B, if someone has strategy in their role, we need to meet with them and understand what is your strategy for your department. How are you pushing this forward? What bottlenecks? So really, it's a simple way of saying make sure that you talk to all of the decision makers in all of the different roles so that you can be sure that you've heard all of the needs and you check all of the boxes and you have solutions prepared for different people so that they're able to basically see, hey, okay, not only are they going to help marketing, but they're also going to help customer success. And not only are they going to help that, but they're going to help HR. You want to cover all of your bases. Now, what will typically happen in an AI audit is we will identify anywhere from 10 to 30 potential solutions that could drastically improve the quality of the business. But what we have to do and what you have to do is decide what is worth actually pursuing and looking into. And, a lot of these things can help, but you should be able to identify 2, 3, 4, or 5 things out of 20 that's like, hey, this is your holy grail. This is what you need to go after. And what I like to do is just make a little quadrant. And the quadrant is essentially, business impact on the x-axis and effort on the y-axis. And you can also, you want to get something that's going to be relatively low effort. And by effort, I mean how much work the employees are going to have to put in once that solution's implemented. And so low on the effort scale and high on the business impact scale. And you just rank all of the things in your quadrant. And then you'll see, okay, well, we've got these 3 things up here in the top right. Everything else kind of filters down here. So let's just focus on these. We can always revisit these later, but let's focus on the highest impact solutions and the things that are really going to move the needle and also make the employees' lives a little bit better. Now, every business is different. So you have to, once again, identify what you are optimizing for, what you're shooting for. But once you do that, you can get really crystal clear and you can identify, here's the things that we need to do to take this business to the next level with AI. Something interesting that typically happens once we're giving the actual audit report back to the business is it will essentially open up portals to other AI implementations. So for example, what will happen is an executive might say, oh, well, I didn't know that we could do this. Can it also help with our emails? Oh, well, can it also help with our engineering? What about staff scheduling? What about this? What about that? And that's a good thing because you want people that are bought in and excited about the potential impact that artificial intelligence can make on a business. At the same time, you do need to be in the control seat and say, yes, we can do that, but we need to focus on this right now. But the point is, once people understand how AI can come in and impact different parts of the business, they'll usually get some insights and some downloads into other parts of the business that it can help with. So you can add that to the scope of what you're building, or you can add that on for a future project. A great example is we built a really strong automation for a business to help their sales process, but they also wanted to do something on the back end. And so we've got it locked in for Q1 of January 2026. We're going to do a very large custom AI build into their business that's going to make a huge difference. But the point is, understanding begets more. The phrase is completely escaping me right now. But what I'm getting at is that the more you understand how this technology can impact a business, the more you can think about and conceptualize other solutions inside of the business. And that's very, very valuable in and of itself. Something that I really want to emphasize is when you're explaining this stuff to people that are not, machine learning engineers, their eyes gloss over, they get bored, they don't even know what you're talking about. I highly recommend trying to visualize this in some way, shape, or form. Yes, in the form of a presentation, but also in like graphics. You need a graphical representation of how this is working. This input comes here. Think of it like an N8N template, like how N8N has everything connected and flowing. Like that's how you should be presenting this to a business because it just makes it so much easier to see, okay, point A connects to point B connects to point C. And they don't need to know that like, okay, here we're triggering the OpenAI API and here we're triggering the Midjourney API or, whatever the solution is. They just need to see the flow. It's almost like a flow chart. And it's just some people are very technically savvy and they can understand it, but others need some sort of visual graphic representation that they can look at that can take them from here to here so that they can see, I see the full picture, I understand it, I get it. And then the last most important thing, if you are pitching AI services to a business, if you are responsible for AI inside of a business, if you are an employee and you're trying to bring a solution to the business that you think could help, you need to not say, hey, AI can make us more efficient at coding, or hey, AI can help our email marketing. It needs to say, hey, AI can save 4 hours a week on this task. AI can eliminate 120 hours a month in this department. You want to get very tangible with the results and with the assets, because you're not selling a technical solution. The technical solution is the bridge to get to the actual benefit that they're looking for. Every business wants to be more efficient. Every business wants to make more money. Every business wants to save money. Every business wants to get as much output as possible with as little input as possible. And that's what AI can truly do. I mean, that's why it's so incredible and why there's such a gold rush right now. So with that being said, anytime you're thinking about a solution, you need to think about it in terms of, is this going to save hours? Is this going to save time? Is this going to make money? Is this going to automate, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Is this going to automate some of our employees' work so that we don't need to pay as many people? And if you think about it like that, you really can't lose. Businesses love to hear that as well. And it's true. It's just a different way of saying, hey, we're going to build you a augmented RAG solution that is really fast and efficient, instead of saying, hey, we're going to build you an AI chatbot that is going to save you whatever you would pay 2 full-time employees over the course of a year to sit there and message people back and forth. You just got to position in the right way. And I guess that's selling 101, but in the world of AI, people seem to get lost in the weeds, and they throw out these big terms and jargons, and it's just not helpful. So just try to focus on the actual, tangible, visceral impact. You focus on that, you cannot lose. And so that is how you audit a business for AI. That's how you evaluate what kind of AI you want to add into the business. And that's something that I do. So if you have a business and you're interested in adding AI into it, I'm happy to give you an audit, run through it, tell you exactly where AI can solve bottlenecks for you. If you're not subscribed to this channel, love if you would. I basically just try to make AI accessible for people that may not be engineers, business owners, people in a job, regular people that just want to add it into their life, trying to provide value every single day. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.